Couple of days back, while surfing internet, I landed on a page of International Women's Day. And do you know what's the theme this year? It's break the bias. Yes. So immediately a question came to my mind. Like human, we have conscious, unconscious biasness. So does our AI system also has biasness in it? What do you think? So far, we have always spoken about the perfection in technology. In fact, in my last video itself, I have spoken about RP and artificial intelligence. There are two USPs that I spoke about. One is about higher accuracy, and the second one I spoke about the at par compliance. Then, where is the bias? Biasness will always be there till the time human biasness interferes with the system. You don't believe, right? So let's look at what are the different algorithmic biasness and how it is creating discrimination. Now let's look at these 5 types of algorithmic biasness. Number 1 is training data itself is biased. How will this happen? This will happen because the way data has been captured in itself is a wrong way of doing it. For example, the device through which data is supposed to be captured in itself is faulty, then definitely garbage in will be garbage out. The second one is underrepresented data. This is another one and a big one, because in the real scenario also we have underrepresented population in terms of gender, race, age. So, but not right representation comes into our data, and that's how any kind of prediction or outcome that comes out of AI system is tend to be biased. The third one is about we tend to settle for shortcuts, because these technologies require information in terms of numbers. Then how do we convert the softer elements? For example, relationship with your siblings. How do you convert that into a number? It's quite difficult. So after multiple trial and error, we tend to settle at a score and shortcut, and that's where this biasness get introduced. Fourth one is amplification of data. Now in case for any e-commerce site, if they receive feedback, positive feedbacks, and they use only those for building this AI system, then definitely those products will show that okay, these are very good, and that kind of predictions can happen. So that's how you try and tend to amplify things, although actually it might not be the case. The last one, or the fifth one, is malicious attack of data. So a lot of time it happens, like for example, there was a situation where a bot was introduced in Twitter, and it took information from live conversation. So when the data is being poured by a real environment, and if your real environment is biased, you tend to get those kind of attacks and outcome which are biased. So these are the 5 types of algorithmic bias, and we should break the bias. Now is the time to look at some real examples of these system bias. First one I want to talk about is Amazon's recruiting engine, which used to reject all the resumes with the word women. And maybe this was because Amazon was not hiring women in past for some specific job role, and it picked up from there. The other one I want to talk about is Tay, which is AI chatbot deployed by Microsoft on Twitter. Intention was to make it an intelligent chatbot, but unfortunately it started picking up all the profanity language tweets, and that's how it started responding in that language, and so within 12 hours of its deployment it had to be pulled off. The other one I want to talk about is Indemnia, which is a facial recognition software used in US, Australia, France, and which misidentifies black 5 out of 10 times. And something similar was uncovered also by Joy, who is MIT's media research person, and she also detected a similar flaw in the facial recognition system. And then there is a documentary on this on Netflix. Please do check out The Coded Bias. Now, if I tell you that people are sent to jail because of this system bias, isn't it shocking? Yes, it is, because what's happening in this case is there is risk profiling that is happening of people, and which is based on the risk assessment or the information that has been captured for of criminals. Now, by chance, if this is being applied to an innocent and these traits matches with an innocent will be sent to jail. Isn't it a sorry situation for our society? So think through and let's see how we can break the bias. I know you might be thinking that, Sarika, this is a very negative picture. Is there a way to get out of this? So there are a few things that we could do. First thing is, whenever there is any kind of recommendation from these AI system, please critically evaluate it, challenge it, and ask n number of questions before accepting it. The second thing that we could do is by using the right data which is not biased. And also for the people who are building AI systems, I would request them that please do take those proper care and build it ethically. The other thing that comes to my mind is why don't we test these AI systems just like COVID vaccine? Why not? Before deploying it to the society, it needs to be tested and checked and only then allowed. And this entire thing can be under the umbrella of ethics in AI, where we can have some stricter laws, some regulations in place, so that tomorrow we have a much safer society and lesser discrimination. So let's together break the bias and make a happy world to live.